for as much good things that Mike Norvell has done building up this Florida State program, in the span of only a few months into this year, he has quickly burned down all of the goodwill that he has built inside of this Florida State program. Because for as quickly as Florida State rose back to prominence, they've quickly fallen right back into the pits of irrelevancy. And they're on pace to finish with the 2-11 record this year, which would be one of the worst seasons in Florida State football. And Mike Norvell, he has tanked the future of Florida State's football program for the foreseeable future, because what he did his first 3 years, you now have to pretty much ignore it and scrap it with how bad of a season Florida State is having right now, because your recruiting has taken a massive hit. You're right now ranked 33rd with your upcoming recruiting class behind Duke and UCF, who are out recruiting you. Not only are you getting out recruited by UCF and Duke, but Duke beats you for the first time in the history of their program. That's embarrassing. And now it looks like it's going to take a while for Mike Norvell to get Florida State back into the position that they were last season. And there's a really strong chance that Florida State might not ever have the season that they had under Mike Norvell in 2023 ever again. They may not ever be an ACC championship contender as long as this dude is the head coach. And for as much good faith as what he has built his first couple of years in this program, he quickly has erased all of it with how bad of a season they're having. This team just sucks at everything. Their defense is okay, but offensively, they can't block nobody. The quarterback play has been dreadful. The receivers have been terrible as well. Everything with Florida State football has sucked, including the coaching. After every game, when you listen to Mike Norvell's press conferences, he always says, man, we got to do a better job of coaching up this team and having these guys ready to play. So why isn't that things are not getting better? Why is it that Florida State continues to suck week after week? They can't even beat Duke. You struggled to beat Cal. There's a good chance that you might not even be able to beat Charleston Southern. Florida State, to me, isn't even better than FAMU. The best team in Tallahassee right now is Florida A&M, not Florida State. If FAMU and FSU were to play today, I would bet $1,000 that FAMU wins that game. Because FAMU right now, they actually have a football program. They actually have a culture. They actually have a good locker room. Florida State doesn't have that. They got a bunch of mercenaries there that are only there for the opportunity. They're not there to help make Florida State a better football program. They're just there to get paid, make some plays, and move on to the next level. You see, when you build a team through the transfer portal, you don't have guys that are willing to come into your program and sacrifice the blood, sweat, and tears necessary to get your program to a national championship level. The transfer portal is only good when you get a couple of pieces here and there, or when you just got to rebuild in year one. But when you're constantly going to the transfer portal to assemble your roster and you're using it to make up for your lack of recruiting, you put yourself in the bad situation that Florida State finds themselves in right now. And with how bad 2024 has gone from them, this season is going to set this program back 3-4 years, because it's going to be hard to come back from a season this bad when you're going to get murdered by Miami and you're going to be a 10-win team or 2-win team. You go from being undefeated in the regular season to now being one of the worst teams in all of college football within the span of a year. Everything that Mike Norvell did his first couple of years with this program, building them up to win the ACC, to be a playoff contender, has now been erased with how bad of a season this is. We don't even know if Mike Norvell is a good coach anymore with how left things have went for Florida State. This coaching staff is terrible. And everybody before this season started inside of that Florida State program was making it seem like this was a top 10 team from a talent standpoint. This is why I was never high on Florida State, because last year was a peak season for them. You can't judge teams based off what they did off one good year of football. You got to judge a team based off what they have done on a consistent basis throughout the last 3-4 years. What you do one year doesn't define what you're going to be moving forward as a program. What you are as a program in the future is defined by the body of work that you have put in place over the last couple of years. If Florida State was a consistent 10-win team, then it would be understandable for them to get a lot of playoff hype. But the same hype that people have for Mizzou coming in, and you see how bad they've looked when they play good teams, it's the same reason Florida State was overhyped coming into this season. People's expectations was based off what they did during a peak season and not based off the body of work that they've put on display the last 3 years. And for Florida State, there's a chance that Billy Napier may actually end up saving his job, and the Gators have a better season than you do, on top of crushing you in the process. You know, Florida State right now is in a really bad situation with Mike Norvell being their head coach, because you just gave this dude an extension. He has like an $80 million buyout, so he obviously isn't going anywhere anytime soon. You got to have another Jimbo Fisher on your hands. You remember when Jimbo Fisher peaked after he won that national championship against Auburn with Jameis Winston? Yeah, after that, they never won another national championship, and every year after that, that program steadily declined. And that's what you're seeing with Florida State. It's just that the decline under Jimbo Fisher took a little bit more time. The decline under Mike Norvell only took a few months to see. As soon as they made the decision to pay DJU and bring him in via the transfer portal, I knew this program was screwed. Because now you can't even trust Mike Norvell to be a good scout or a good developer of talent, with the fact that this dude actually thought that DJU was going to be the best quarterback to lead this team to the level of success that they had last season. The fact that this program has struggled to evaluate talent in the transfer portal shows you that you can't have too much faith in the recruiting, because how many recruits can you say Florida State has developed and turned them into NFL caliber prospects? Not too many. You know, all of the guys that have gotten drafted from this program under Mike Norvell have mostly been transfers. Not a lot of guys that they are sending to the league have been guys that they have recruited out of high school and that they have developed. Mike Norvell, I thought this dude was on his way to becoming a really good head coach, a really good program builder, but instead, he may look like the second coming of Willie Taggart or Jimbo Fisher, because I want to be against Florida State's alumni backing, buying out Mike Norvell's $80 million contract and replacing him with Deion Sanders. Because at least with Deion Sanders, you know that you're going to have great recruiting and your program's going to have a lot of juice and hype around it. And based by how bad Florida State has played this year, Deion Sanders has looked like a better coach than what Mike Norvell has over the last couple of weeks, or just with how this season has gone. So you might as well go ahead and bring Deion back to the place that he made himself a household name. He's a Florida State legend, even though he, for some weird reason, doesn't like to claim Florida State anymore. But nonetheless, Deion Sanders will be a much better head coach for Florida State than what Mike Norvell is right now, because Florida State's program is trending in the wrong direction. This program went from being, on top of the world to now being worse than what the Florida Gators are. For Florida State right now, they're in hell. And Mike Norvell has tanked the future of Florida State football with how bad this season has been, because this is one of those years that sets you back several seasons. It's going to take Florida State after this year a few years to rebuild until they're able to get back to a level where they can actually compete for this conference.